Good morning. I am Dr. Krishnakant from SRR and CVR Government Junior College, Vijayawada. As a part of second year zoology, let us discuss some of the important aspects of endocrine system and chemical coordination. Before going into the details of this topic, let us discuss some important aspects of coordination. In generally, all the body functions will be coordinated in order to achieve a condition called homeostasis. Homeostasis means internal stable atmosphere. So, all the body functions will be coordinated to achieve this homeostasis. But however, in your previous chapters, you have learned about neural coordination, and neural coordination is short-lived and it is immediate. But in general cases, all the cells are not innervated by the nerve endings. So, there may be some conditions which needs some slow and prolonged coordination. In such cases, chemical coordination will help, and this chemical coordination is actually slow and it is prolonged. And this chemical coordination is actually achieved by endocrine glands, which constitute the endocrine system. So, endocrine system consists of endocrine glands and their secretions called hormones. Endocrine means inner, crine means away. Endocrine glands will secrete these hormones directly into the blood or into the lymph system. Hence, these are called ductless glands. And hormones are biochemical integrators. It was the Starling who coined the term hormone. Hormone means to excite. And it was the secretin is the first hormone that was identified. And let us see some of the important aspects of these hormones. Hormones are non-nutrients and these are intercellular messengers, and these are secreted in very trace amounts, that means very little amounts. And these are very small molecules, effective in very low concentrations, and most importantly, these are produced and they will have certain cells which are far away from these site of production, and such cells are called target cells. Target cells means the cells on which they show the influence. Generally, the target cells are far away from the site of production or site of secretion, and only few are local hormones. Example, gastrointestinal tract hormones like gastrin. So these are local hormones produced, and their impact will be on the cells that are surrounding this site of production. So these are some of the important aspects of the hormones. These are non-nutrients, intercellular messengers, and these are produced in very trace amounts, and these are small molecules and very effective in low concentration itself, and target cells are generally far away from the site of production, and some are local hormones which produce and show the effect in the locally near the cells that are surrounding it. Example is gastrin. And most of the hormones will be degraded by the cells, and they will be excreted by bile or through urine. And the secretion is very important. If these are secreted in larger amounts, that is called hypersecretion. That means higher amounts. These are secreted in higher amounts, that we call it as a hypersecretion. And hyposecretion means these are secreted in very low amounts. Both hypersecretion of the hormones as well as the hyposecretion will leads to some kind of disorders. Falls in three categories or three types. One is amine hormones. These are the hormones that are derived from single amino acid. For example, melatonin is the hormone that is produced from tryptophan. Melatonin is the hormone that is produced from the amino acid called tryptophan, and thyroxine and epinephrine are produced from the amino acid called tyrosine. Peptide hormones and protein hormones. These are derived from some more than one amino acid. Generally, peptide hormones means they consist of around 3 to 49 amino acids. Example, antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. And protein hormones are even longer polypeptides, and these constitute around 50 to 200 amino acids. And examples are the hormones that are secreted by the pancreas, like insulin, glucagon, etc. And some of the protein hormones like follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, these are even more complex in structure because of the presence of carbohydrate side chains. And third category is the steroidal hormones. And these are generally derived from cholesterol. Examples are testosterone, progesterone. So these are the hormones that are derived from cholesterol. So three types. One is the amine hormones. Example, melatonin and thyroxine. So these are the three types of hormones, and remember, hormones are generally highly specific. That means they show their impact on a special type of cells or highly specific. For example, FSH, and there may be general like thyroxine. So they may be specific or general. That means specific means they show their impact on a special type of cells, or there may be general, that means they show on every cell. The impact will be on every cell. Find the hormones in higher vertebrates as well as some of the higher invertebrates like arthropods, and in all vertebrates. But the endocrine system is largely very well studied in humans. Hence, we shall discuss the human endocrine system in today's class. The human endocrine system consists of glands or the tissues that are pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, thymus gland, testis and ovary, and adrenal gland. So these are the important glands of human endocrine system, and we shall discuss in detail of each and every gland. Before going into the details of these glands, let us discuss some important aspects of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is called master control. Because it exerts greater influence on pituitary gland. Generally, hypothalamus is the floor of the diencephalon. It consists of neural as well as secretory cells. Hence, it connects both neural and secretory or glandular part. Generally, hypothalamus receives signals from various sensory nerves, and in turn it gives commands either neural as well as secretory in nature. The cells that are present are neurosecretory cells, and these group of neurosecretory cells are called nuclei. And these neurosecretory cells will release certain hormones called neurohormones. And these neurohormones will actually show impact on the pituitary gland, especially the anterior part of the pituitary gland. And these neurohormones are two types, either releasing hormones or inhibitory hormones. So the neurohormones are two types. One is the releasing hormones, or another type is called inhibitory hormones. Now, for example, growth hormone releasing hormone is the releasing hormone that is secreted by the hypothalamus, and it influences the anterior pituitary gland to secrete another hormone called growth hormone, that is responsible for the cell division, cell differentiation and protein metabolism in the body, and ultimately it leads to the growth of the body. So this growth hormone will be released only when this growth hormone releasing hormone, or we can simply call it as a growth hormone releasing hormone, GHRH. Only when this growth hormone releasing hormone is released, then only the anterior pituitary gland will release the growth hormone. And sometimes the inhibitory hormones will be released that will cause the inhibition of the action on the part of pituitary gland. All the hormones of hypothalamus will reach the anterior pituitary gland by way of a special portal system called hypophyseal portal system. So all these will reach the anterior pituitary through this hypophyseal portal system. But in case of posterior pituitary gland, the hormones that are released by this are secreted by the posterior pituitary gland, actually secreted by the hypothalamus, and it is stored in the posterior pituitary gland. We can also call it as a neurohypophysis. So, in general, the hypothalamus is called master control because of its influence on the anterior as well as the posterior parts of the pituitary gland. In case of anterior pituitary gland, there are two types of neurohormones that are releasing hormones and the inhibitory hormones, which influence the anterior part of the pituitary gland to secrete its own hormones. But in case of posterior pituitary gland, the hormones are already released or secreted by the hypothalamus itself, and these are stored in the pituitary gland. So this is the importance of the hypothalamus. Now let us discuss each and every gland in detail. First one is the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is also known as hypophysis. It has two parts, as I have already said. One is the anterior pituitary gland or adenohypophysis, and second one is the posterior pituitary gland or neurohypophysis. In between these two, there is a small space called pars intermedia. The space between these two is called pars intermedia. And let us first see the origin of this pituitary gland and its location. So it is located in the brain, and it is attached to the lower part of the hypothalamus through a stalk called infundibulum. Pituitary gland is a round structure, and it is located in the bony depression called sella turcica. So attached to the hypothalamus by a stalk called infundibulum. In its origin, pituitary gland is of dual origin. Why it is called dual origin? Because each part, that is the anterior part as well as the posterior part, are originated from two different sources, hence we call it as a dual origin. Dual origin, that means from both two different origins. One is the anterior part is originated from Rathke's pouch, and the posterior part is outgrowth of infundibulum. So these two are joined to form the pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is a very important gland in all the endocrine system because it has a greater influence on other glands also. So let us see what are the different hormones that are produced by the pituitary gland. And first we shall see the important hormones that are produced by the anterior part or the adenohypophysis. Adenohypophysis releases 6 important hormones. Those are, one is growth hormone, second one is luteotropic hormone, also known as prolactin. Third one is adrenocortic tropic hormone. Fourth one is thyroid stimulating hormone. Fifth one is FSH, or we can say follicle stimulating hormone, and sixth one is luteinizing hormone, or simply you can say the LH, and these two are known as gonadotropin hormones. Now let us see first the importance of this growth hormone. The growth hormone is responsible for the growth of the body, and the growth hormone will influence cells like liver to secrete insulin like growth factors. And this growth hormone is responsible for the cell division, elongation of bones, cell differentiation, and protein metabolism. And because of these things, these functions, the body will grow, and that is the importance of this growth hormone. And luteotropic hormone or prolactin, it influences the growth of mammary glands and production of milk. It also causes the maintenance of corpus luteum. Remember this word, corpus luteum, which is called yellow body, which secrete an important hormone called progesterone. So this is the importance of the luteotropic hormone. We can say it as, remember it as LTH. And adrenocortical tropic hormone influences the cortex region of the adrenal cortex region. So adrenal gland will have two parts. One is the cortex and medulla, and this ACTH, you can simply remember it as ACTH, and this ACTH will influence the adrenal cortex region to secrete its own hormones like aldosterone, etc. So adrenal cortex region will secrete its hormones only after this ACTH is released. That is, the pituitary gland is influencing this adrenocortex region to secrete its hormones. And fourth one is thyroid stimulating hormone. Simply we can call it as a TSH. Thyroid stimulating hormone, similar to the adrenal cortex tropic hormone, the TSH stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete its hormone called thyroxine.